Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another DragonHeir video. Today I'm actually going to be comparing and contrasting King Arthur Legends Rise and DragonHeir Silent Gods, okay? So two kind of similar games. I think they're actually very, very similar games. So I want to compare and contrast the two. So obviously DragonHeir is, a little bit over a month old at this point. I have a lot of experience with this game. I've beaten all of the content in game. There's nothing I basically can't beat. I kind of got to the point where there's just nothing to do in the game. So now if I want to talk about the big differences between the two games, DragonHeir is actually a perfect side game. I definitely would not recommend spending even a lot of money at all in DragonHeir. If more than, I'd maybe spend like $20, grab the 2 monthly packs, and pretty much call it a day. Because if you spend a lot of money in DragonHeir, what's going to happen is you're just going to beat all the content, and there's going to be nothing to do in the game. When they released this game, they kind of only have like 30% of a game. So DragonHeir is like 30% of a game. It has a great start. It has a lot of cool stuff. It has an open world, kind of like King Arthur also kind of has an open world, except for we got a city with stuff you can upgrade. And obviously DragonHeir is more of an idle RPG. So you can't really control your heroes that much. You don't get to control every skill. It's not a turn-based. King Arthur is a turn-based game, so you get to control every single skill that happens in this game. And this game has a lot harder content as well. So I've spent money in King Arthur as well, but in King Arthur, basically there is still hard bosses. There's a lot of hard content. There is content in King Arthur. I've been able to play many hours every single day in King Arthur, and I have not yet hit any sort of walls besides actual progression walls. And that's what you want. In this game, the only walls are artificial, right? So in DragonHeir, they just stop you from playing the game on purpose, but it's not because you don't have a strong enough team. So there's no point in DragonHeir for me to spend time, farming gear, improving my teams, etc., because I can already beat every single dungeon on level 9. So why? Like, what's the point, right? So I can beat every single dungeon. I'll show you right now. So here you go. Stage cleared, 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 stage cleared. Okay. This would say a number if I have not cleared all the stages, but I've cleared everything in the game. There's nothing to do in the game. You spend money in DragonHeir and they just limit everything to the point where it's kind of pointless. Now, I think if I would have done this over again, I would have done DragonHeir totally free to play. I would have spent maybe only $20 on the monthly packs, and because the game would have been more challenging and more fun that way. When you spend a bunch of money, you get a bunch of legendaries, and the game is super easy, and there's really nothing to do. There's no endless content. There's no endless tower. There's no story mode. There's no anything. There's literally nothing to do in DragonHeir. Now, King Arthur, again, I guess I haven't mentioned this yet in this video, but they're having issues with emulators and APKs. So the game looks a bit funky right now. It doesn't look like this on a real device. So if you have an actual Android device, this game looks a lot better. They're having compatibility issues. They're having emulator issues. The reason is because they have really, really good graphics in King Arthur, but they use Unreal Engine 5. And there's not a lot of support for Unreal Engine 5. So OpenGL doesn't really work. So they're having graphical issues. There's a little bit of weird things. You can see kind of the glitches going on. Even with all of the negative stuff happening with King Arthur, it's been able to hold my attention as a video game a lot longer than DragonHeir has. I was really excited in DragonHeir in the first 2 weeks, but then once all the quests stopped, basically what happens in DragonHeir is the first 2 weeks, you got a bunch of quests coming out, you have stuff to do daily. It's still not a lot. It's like maybe an hour every day. But then after that, it kind of just drops off and there's literally nothing to do in the game. Now, in King Arthur, there is always stuff to do in the game. You have a city, you have an adventure mode where you can walk around like DragonHeir. You have main story quests, which are actually very difficult. You have different difficulties in here, right? So I can go over and I can switch to hard and hell. And there's actually content in King Arthur to complete. There's actually stuff to do inside the game, which is I guess, you know, a novel idea, but there's stuff to do in the game. The heroes are really cool. Now, again, I wish I could show you better graphics. Another interesting thing about DragonHeir is the rares are actually better than legendaries in this game. So in this game, legendaries are actually quite bad. I don't know why, but for some reason, they make the skill cost of legendaries really high. So you can see four vigor for this skill, 2 vigor for this skill. For some reason, all legendaries, you can see this is another rare, 4 and 2. But then when you get to a legendary, 5 and 3. For some reason, they use a lot more vigor. It uses 5. I don't really get it. So spending a crap ton of money in King Arthur as well doesn't really help you that much. Now, there is some things that are obviously really going to help you. Like one of the legendary healers is quite good, but it's just kind of interesting, the difference. Now, in DragonHeir, the legendaries are extremely hard to get. Extremely hard to get. The legendaries are so hard. They're $5 a summon. The summon events in DragonHeir are like $850 to get the legendary. And they only give you like 10 summons the entire frickin' season, the entire 3-month season, right? In DragonHeir, you get like 10 dice. And then over here on King Arthur, I got a bunch of dice, or in this, they're actual summons, but I got a bunch of hero summons in this game for free, no problem. And it's kind of funny because they give you more, and the legendaries aren't even really needed or that useful. So it's just totally different side of the world here, right? Yeah, I don't really even want to kind of just show a bunch of gameplay. If you guys are following my channel, you've seen a bunch of gameplay on King Arthur already. I've been covering this game the last 3 or 4 days pretty hard, but I just kind of talk about the differences here, you know? They got a lot of gameplay. You have an actual turn-based gacha here. DragonHeir, no gameplay. Really nothing to do inside the game. It's kind of idle. You can explore the world a little bit more openly versus King Arthur, but in this game, I mean, you just have so much content. You have all of the stuff. This is more Raid Shadow Legends type, I will say. They do have some stuff that in here that's pretty cool, but they have some cool systems that I don't see in a lot of games. Like, for example, you can change your weapon in King Arthur, and it changes the affinity of your hero. So it's kind of cool. It kind of changes their abilities, it changes what they do, and then it changes if you're strong or weak against an enemy. In DragonHeir, they have no affinity at all. They have affinity, but it doesn't. You don't have like a strong versus a weak affinity. They don't have any of that in DragonHeir, which is kind of interesting. I kind of like that you don't have to worry about affinity, but this game makes it kind of easy because if you have the weapons, you can just swap the weapon, and now my hero I've invested a lot into just changes their affinity. Pretty cool. Lots of stuff like that. Now, duplicates, I haven't really gotten deep enough into the game to figure out all the uses for duplicates, but in DragonHeir, duplicates are only useful on legendary heroes, which is kind of annoying. And then in this game, you can use them for skill ups. You can use them for, I think, powering up heroes. I don't think I've unlocked it yet, but I think later in the game, I'm going to unlock some way to power up my legendaries and my rares. They don't have epics in King Arthur. They only have legendaries and rares. But okay, so now after all that, I want to say that, like, even with the awful graphics in King Arthur, it's just held my attention so much more than DragonHeir did. Now, yeah, in the very beginning, it was kind of exciting, and like I was excited to wait for the reset in DragonHeir because I'm like, oh, I haven't been able to do anything for 12 hours now, you know, cool, I'm gonna get a new quest and I'm gonna get this and that was like amusing in the very beginning, but now it's just like there's no point in even really logging in. Like, I log in every day, I do my 2 commissions, I do my temporal vortex, I do a couple arena fights, I use a tiny bit of stamina, and then I'm done for the day. And if that's what you want, like if you only have an hour to play every single day, DragonHeir might be an amazing game for you. If you don't want to spend money and you only want to play an hour a day, DragonHeir is probably the game for you, especially if you like the graphics. I don't have a lot bad to say about DragonHeir besides the fact that there's just nothing to do in the game. Now on King Arthur, both of the developer teams, honestly, from both these games, kind of, they don't give you a lot of information. There's literally no information about King Arthur. They didn't even tell us when the game would drop. They just gave us a date, and it wasn't even an official date. And then there was no time, and then there's no updates in Discord. They just did a patch this morning on King Arthur, and there was no no updates at all. Kind of like DragonHeir in the beginning, they just didn't give any information. They were a little bit worse in DragonHeir because they hid all of the tooltips and everything from all the players. So they hid all of this information from the players for a long time. Took them about a month to add it back into the game. So that was kind of annoying. But both of the devs kind of aren't huge, don't really care about their player base. I'll say I don't have any information about Kabam, the guys who made King Arthur, but they have no content creator program. Their Discord, basically, there's no point in even being there. There's no updates. They have an announcement channel that they don't use. Facebook, there's no updates as well. So you're kind of just in the dark for basically both of these games, which is kind of weird. Usually, like, people are trying to hype up, you know, they're both in soft launch. So both of these games are in soft launch, which means that they're not going to wipe the progress, but it's not open to every country. DragonHeir is still running ads, and they totally shut down the game. You can't even download it anymore. So there's no one even talking in Discord, no one really playing the game because it's totally shut down. So we're all just kind of waiting for the next season to happen. King Arthur, I'm just kind of hoping that they're going to do something with the emulator problem. You can't use an emulator right now because it only runs on Android 12, and the only emulator that works on Android 12 is Nox Player. And YouTube's taking down my goddamn videos on just showing people how to install a free game. They say it's harming the community because I'm giving free access to a paid game. It's a literal free-to-play game, and they're taking down mine and Stu's videos. So I have it on my spreadsheet. If you want to check out my spreadsheet on how to play King Arthur and how to install it, I have a tab called How to Install because, you know, Google can't take down my shared spreadsheet. Well, I'm sure they could, but Google owns YouTube and they're taking down my videos. But anyways, okay, so that's kind of my comparison. I'm really loving King Arthur. I will say, I was really loving DragonHeir in the beginning. The first 2 weeks, I was loving DragonHeir. That's why I spent so much money on the game. I wanted to support the game. I thought it was such a cool idea with the open world and the D&D factor. You know, I played D&D as a kid in middle school and high school, and it was really attractive to me. And I spent a lot of money on this game, and now I just kind of regret it because I basically made the game too easy for myself, and there's no hard content, and there's nothing to do in the game. So it's like I spent all this money, and I don't get anything for it. I really don't get anything for it. Now, in this game, I feel like it's actually difficult. There's actually progression to do. There's actually bosses that I need to build a good team for. And there's mechanics and stuff I need to work around. You know, kind of in this game, the same team. Look at this. Look at what I'm talking about. The same team you can use in every single boss. It's kind of sad. So if I go to glory rankings, if I go to dungeon racing, okay, level 9. You want to see the first team? Oh, it's actually different now. God, they're going to make me. Okay, so here we go. This team right here, 12 seconds on this boss. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, wow, same team, 12 seconds, 15 seconds. Oh, wait. Oh, same team, 15 seconds. Oh, let's see if this team's different. Oh, wait, same team. Okay, same team. Maybe Ancient Battlefield. That's a hard dungeon. Maybe that one will be different. Oh, nope, same team. So you kind of just have stuff like this going on in this game. You just, Wild is so broken right now that you just kill the boss in 10 seconds, and you can just ignore all the mechanics. There's just no challenge in DragonHeir. There's no hard content. There's no endless towers. They added leaderboards to this game, but then they limit the progression so much so every leader is at the same level. You know what I mean? Like every person in the game is at the same level because they limit it. Instead of most idle games, they give you 10 levels of faction wars every other day. Here, they give you 5 levels a week. So it's like, there's literally nothing to do. When I was talking to the devs of DragonHeir, I said, you know what I would do if I started over? I'd play the game free to play. I would open my account on day 1. I would log out and I would never log in for 2 more weeks. And then I'd come back and I'd play my 2-week-old account, and then everything's unlocked. And that's how I would play the game if I did it again. You know what I mean? It's like such a stupid system. Just lock everyone out. The whole point of seasons is the race to max level when the season starts. So why have a season and then limit everyone? You're literally handicapping everyone, holding everyone down, and just letting them crawl through this game because you guys didn't make enough content. So you're trying to force everyone to have multiple weeks of content just by gimping and limiting everyone. And here, the game soft launches in King Arthur, And there's so much content to do. There's all sorts of different dungeons. There's the story. The story is a big portion of this game, you know, the actual story. What am I doing here? Adventure. This story right here, this main story where you have normal, you have hard, you have hell, you have all these different difficulties, and you have boss fights, you have levels. This is a normal gacha game. This is what I'm used to. This is normal content that people like. It's challenging, you know, some of the stuff is challenging, and it's funny because with legendaries it's even more challenging than if you just use rares. So I don't know, games are totally different. That's kind of my view on the differences between DragonHeir and King Arthur. King Arthur is a great main game, honestly, and DragonHeir honestly is probably a great side game or second game. I just wouldn't spend a lot of money because you'll basically make the game too easy, and then you'll have nothing to do. So I would play DragonHeir free to play. If you want to get the pack that gives you a little bit of stamina every day, then that's probably a good idea. These monthly cards for $10 and $10, because there isn't really a lot of stamina. So if you want a little bit more stamina, I'd grab those. But then after that, I wouldn't spend any money. They're vile how they do the money in this game. I mean, $850 for a summon event is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I thought Infinite Magic Raid was bad with like $350 heroes. Nah, this game blew it out of the water. $850 heroes. And then, I'm going to make another video on that. I'll make another video on that, actually. Well, I got another rant about DragonHeir coming soon on the channel. But that's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are enjoying my content, please hit that subscribe button. And I'll tell you why in the next video, because I really got gimped on all my effort and rewards for those guys because of my subscriber count. But okay, that's it for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. Have a great day, everyone. See you guys.